We're catching up with Frontier here at Gamescom about a game that's been many years in the making, you could say. You're sort of finally taking the reins yourselves, creating the roller coaster game, simulation tycoon game that you really wanted to make. Can you tell us a little bit about how this project came to be?
Well, it came almost exactly as you described. I mean, we came into a position whereby we're now completely, fully self-published. And we've always wanted to come from our position, the kind of legacy of coaster games that we made in the past. And I think there was definitely unfinished stories and unfinished stuff that we wanted to make. So we want to revise the whole aspect of the coaster game and create something which is truly what we want to make. We want to make our coaster game. Yeah. So and it's come about really with an awful lot of planning. So effectively, a decade's worth of planning has gone into this moment. It's weird. I mean, hopefully people have seen the trailer. If they haven't seen the trailer, that trailer is as much about us waiting for this moment to come as anything else.
What would you say in terms of like the advancements that technology has made that sort of unlocks what you've sort of been dreaming of making in this kind of game?
Well, I think the way the game is going to be published and produced from now on, we won't be locked like we were with like RCT was. It was bound by multi-threading. It kind of locked itself away into a time and an era that's sort of will just fade away basically over time. With this, we're trying to create a legacy, something that will live on for years to come, and something that the fans can build on and we can build on and keep creating over a period of time. And as we move on and the game develops, we'll be developing with the technology. But obviously, the technology has given us far more access to more detail in these things, more simulation of possibilities. The depth is far greater, and we can basically reflect that within our renderings and simulations, basically. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
I think the lovely thing is that where we are at the moment. I mean, this isn't like we're making Planet Coaster. This is the beginning. When we release this, it's the start of a very big thing. We know from experience and other things that a planet is a big thing, and we're making that. It's cool.
It's interesting because the way you describe it is you start with the ground up with the simulation, simulating the crowds, and just amazing detail in what there is there, and it's kind of hard to imagine that is actually simulation going on and not just animation and sort of triggered animations, but it's really a lot of personality down to that level.
So we've got a team. Well, I'll start on the personality. We've got a team of animators who have been working with people through Connected Design Adventures. They've worked with Pixar, they've worked with Disney, right? And they've picked up an awful lot of tips. I mean, they're already talented, so now they're kind of world class in what we're doing in terms of games, like hand-keyed animation, perfect. And then we've got coders who have got a lot of experience in writing crowd simulation. So, the kind of stuff that you've seen behind closed doors today, which we could show the world, is really exciting. And I don't know, I can't swear on enough things to say there's no trickery. It's you've seen what you've seen, and it's beautiful. They're so reactive to the world in the park.
We have been developing crowd simulation for a long time anyway. If you look back at a number of our games, we've been using crowd simulation and developing this over a long time, and this is now coming to our pinnacle. We're making the most efficient and the largest crowd simulation we've ever done, but we've got the technology and the brain power, the team behind us to do that. So yeah.
Also, to put it another way, I mean, the crowd is the lifeblood of the park, right? They're entertaining to watch, but also they're carrying. Every little crowd member has a little bit of money in their pocket, and that's what you're aiming for, right? You as a player want to have that so you can make a bigger and better park, right? So it's extraordinarily important to make sure that crowd is both entertaining and, in terms of depth of simulation, solid, right? So we know that, so that's where we started from. It's a pillar.
It's interesting also because it sort of opens up the game to different kinds of players as well, because you got the traditional sort of tycoon player who maybe want to look at the world from top down and derives his motivation from sort of being successful, drawing in money, whereas other players may sort of take motivation from just seeing these things occur naturally, procedurally as they happen.
Yeah, and I think there's going to use the word synergy in that. It almost doesn't matter what your interest in playing with a crowd or trying to design the best park is, because ultimately a happy crowd is a profitable crowd, right? So if a guest coming to your park is getting what they need, then you're succeeding. And also, because of the level of design in there, is that you are defining what guests are coming to your park. You're defining where they're going to go, in beautifully fluid, curvy paths. I can't even talk about this stuff. It's been fantastic.
It's the fact that you've got such a complex toy box to play with. This is like, it's just your imagination that holds you back, really, and you've got all these elements that can come together and to create something truly wonderful. But it's up to you what you want to create, and we're offering a huge amount of flexibility and assets for them to do that, basically. So yeah, the sky's the limit, basically. So.
I think we can't finish this interview off without talking about the coasters, because you're actually doing a lot with that as well. Can you just briefly talk a little bit about the coaster set and your philosophy for those?
So basically, Roller Coasters Tycoon and the game series has basically been focused heavily around creating realistic, real-world coasters, and simulating them. So our approach is to basically take that to the next level, add more detail, enhance them more, give them more character in terms of the extra elements that will move that we weren't able to do before, more details. But it's also providing a good historical background and a lot of variety in terms of the types of coasters, sort of cars and tracks, but putting more effort into the way these tracks are laid out and the different elements that combine them together. So we're creating a far more complex and interesting spread of rides and coasters that basically the enthusiast will love, but also just the general player can appreciate it at the same time, basically.
Also, the stylistic simplicity of the guests we have is complemented beautifully by the amount of intricacy, complexity, should we say, the authenticity of the rides, right? So when a real coaster fan or a real flat ride fan sees what we're creating, they'll know they're getting the full ticket. This is a bona fide theme park game, and it's going to be the best game that you can play.
I think we're running out of time. What's the general roadmap ahead working with this game? Where are you at in development?
Okay, so I don't want to particularly go into too much detail about the actual roadmap, but I hope we've shown you a really impressive crowd demo today. And I think what we're doing is we're going deep on absolute pillars of the game. So the next step will be to release to the press and eventually the public the next pillar of the game, the next most obvious pillar of the game, to kind of do a deep dive so you're aware of how we're bringing the best possible coaster game to you.
We look forward to seeing more from Planet Coaster. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Nice one.
Thank you. Awesome. Watch the trailer.